All right, I'm going to tell you how to sell commercial insurance. This is if you are brand new to commercial insurance. Maybe you already have a little bit of experience in the personal line side and you want to break into commercial insurance, but you're afraid because, it's a little scary. The commercial side sounds so scary because you're working with businesses and I don't understand it. So I'm going to make it kind of clarify this for you and make you realize also that it's not that complicated. Commercial insurance is actually very straightforward. It's actually, in my opinion, sometimes even easier than personal lines insurance. Let's dive into this video. I want to give you some tips, and also if you do already sell commercial insurance, I think this will probably help you as well. Expand out into other areas and also just bring some value about the current state of the market. So let's dive into it. Okay, before I dive into the video, I just wanted to say, guys, if you do get any value from this, please like, subscribe, share the video, and comment also if you liked it, if you didn't like it, or something you want to see for future videos. It really helps me reach more people and answer more questions and bring more value, and that is my ultimate goal, is to really try to bring as much value as I possibly can. Also, shout out, in the month of September, I'm doing half off the consulting calls at chriscostantini.com. Boom. If you want to go there and do a consulting call, I'm doing 50% off end of the summer sale. So, okay, let's dive into it. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned, commercial insurance, everyone's all scared of it. They're all like, I don't know, I want to sell commercial, but I've never sold it. I'm not sure, I'm afraid. It's so simple. We've had agents come in here that learned to sell commercial insurance before they sold personal insurance, and now they don't even understand personal insurance because they're like, oh, well, auto, I don't understand. So it's interesting for me to see that happen and play out. If you really just learn it right, and it's also the way you were taught insurance, but it's very straightforward. It's not that complicated. There are really only a few major types of policies that you need to understand really well. For example, general liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, commercial umbrellas, obviously, commercial property, so like an apartment building or a warehouse if you insure the property, inland marine for like business personal contents, like that's the actual loose items, kind of similar to like a home policy, like contents or personal property on a home insurance policy. So I'll touch on them like briefly, but I'm going to dive into some tips on how you can break into commercial insurance and do well and grow in that quickly. So let's get into the first tip here. So what I recommend is you always start with one product. Start with general liability. General liability is the most basic liability policy, and every single business should have it. While you're driving down the road, look at the businesses out there, coffee shops, donut shops, restaurants, retail, offices. They all should have general liability. That's like premise liability if somebody slips and falls on the inside, or if a donut comes out bad that they sold. Products and completed services will cover them for being sick and having a bad donut, like stuff like that. Obviously, as a retail shop, like an insurance office, you're not selling any products, but it's really just for premise liability if somebody gets injured, slips and falls, hits their head, those kinds of things. Start with general liability because everyone should have it and needs it. It is the easiest policy to understand. It's got a couple, 5 major coverages in there. I'm not going to dive into each one, but that's a great place to get your feet wet. Also understand that there's like a package form of this type of policy as well, which is called a BOP or a BOP policy, business owner's policy. That is a package that includes general liability, the contents, and also, the actual structure of the building if they own the building. So a BOP includes it all. It's kind of a package. It comes with all the bells and whistles, a bunch of other additional coverages, and it's a better version of a general liability policy because it comes with more additional coverages. So understand that there are some variations of this, but general liability, that's really what it is. Then, you really want to start to focus on a niche. If you start to learn a niche within general liability, like donut shops or coffee shops, you can understand what types of coverages they generally need most of the time, almost all the time. And that will allow you to start to get a good rhythm and start to get your feet under you with the coverages and how it works. And then you can start to expand out. Maybe now you do a full-on restaurant. Now you start to do like a retail shop, or office spaces, like a tire shop, like little things like that. Like then you can start to expand out. But starting with one type of product is really, really important, and then focusing on a niche. Focusing on one type of company or business or type of business so that you can really start to get good at that, and then expanding out. Then I would start to add in those other coverages, because that's when you start to get a little more complex. Now you're starting to get more well-rounded. Now you're doing like the workers' comp. Now you need to understand how workers' comp works. Like I said, I think workers' comp is like the easiest policy ever to sell or to write, because there's literally only 3 coverages that exist within a workers' comp policy, and all you really need to do is classify the employees correctly and get their payroll. In my opinion, workers' comp is like the best and easiest policy. I love selling workers' comp policies. They're very, very simple, very straightforward, and there's a lot of money to be made in those as well. Then, adding on the commercial auto. These are the 3 main ones that almost every company needs. Is general liability. If they have any employees, they have to have workers' comp, at least in the state of California. And then commercial auto, if they have commercial vehicles like driving around with their logos on it, they should have commercial auto, and especially if they're registered to the business. So those are like the 3 main ones that everyone should need. If they own the building, by all means, they have to have commercial property. If they have business contents, they should insure their contents as well. But these are the main coverages that every business should have. So really understanding that, having a marketing strategy also towards these types of products and these types of companies specifically that you're targeting is a key to growing things as well and scaling up. Just going out there and blindly just starting to sell commercial insurance is not the move. Like, you need to know what direction you're going. A lot of people ask me about like trucking, transportation, and what my niches are. My 2 niches are transportation with trucking and contractors. Those 2 areas, we love them because we feel that a lot of those businesses and those business owners want quotes, so they're very open to getting quotes because the rates are going up. Trucking is everybody knows trucking and transportation rates are crazy high. Contractors also, expensive, have been going up in the past few years. So they're all very open to getting quotes, and we've developed a plan strategy to generate leads so that we can, and also working with our carriers as well, knowing which carriers we have that will write those really well. So this is another part when I say a strategy and a plan, is like looking at who do you have in your arsenal for carriers, and then also what products do they write, what appetite do they write, what kind of commission do they pay you, all these different things that you should ask yourself. And before you start to go randomly just start searching for commercial business out there, know what you have that you can sell, then go and find out how to generate opportunities in that and convert them and get them through the door. So like I said, guys, I think that, trucking, transportation, it's going great for us. There's huge opportunities in that. It's also very challenging. There's a lot that goes into selling those policies. They're not easy to sell. Contractors, plumbers, electricians, roofers, also great trades, very stable. A lot of companies like them. That's a great one. But there is so much opportunity within the commercial space. So highly recommend getting into it. Don't be afraid of it. Give it a shot. Watch this video a couple times if you need to, and then call me back in 3 years when you're already selling commercial insurance and grow a book of business and you're making a bunch of money. And that would be awesome to see if somebody did dive into it and do really well in it. Feel free to hit me up too. I'm happy to answer any questions. This is like very surface level. I could dive a lot deeper, but just wanted to get this out there to people so just know there's a great opportunity out there, especially with the way that personal lines has tightened up over the last couple of years. You can see commercial has had much lower resistance. The companies still want the business, so they're writing more of it right now. And that is an opportunity. It's basically a green light to go for commercial. So now would be a good time. I would recommend to people, like, go into commercial, push commercial, and diversify your book of business as well. Don't just go all in on one thing, like only coffee shops, only donut shops, like contractors, restaurants, apartment buildings, trucking, like diversifying out. You can see that there is madness that goes on in the world, COVID, recessions, economies changing, stuff like that. If one of those industries blows up and that's 90% of your book of business basically just blew up too. So make sure to diversify it out. I think that's really, really important to make sure you're protected yourself and you're in a good spot, and if something does shift, you're also in a good position to not be hurt. So that's all I got. Hopefully I had to bring some value to you. Give us a like, subscribe, comment something that you want to see in a future video, and also if you do want to do the consulting calls, boom, 50% off month of September. Trying to help get my message out there and help more agents, anybody I can. So that's all I got. We'll see you guys at the top. Peace.